have traveled to many places while you have been growing up in your life. And let's start from the very first place that you have taken birth in, and what exactly happened that brought you to Bombay, and how has been life after that?
Okay, like a quick 30-second snapshot. I started my life in Kuwait. We came back during the Iraq War. Most of you were not born probably when that happened, but this is basically a war between two countries for oil. Let's just leave it at that. And we were a family of refugees. We came back to this country. We came back and we started from scratch. But I was 7 back then, so not as impacted, just had a more nomadic life than most of you did. Post that, been in Bombay, had a very typical SSC, HSC, BEXTC from Mumbai University and journey. Till, somewhere along the line, I think I applied for MBA just because everybody else was doing. मेरे सारे दोस्त कर रहे थे तो मुझे लगा मुझे भी करना चाहिए. So did that, screwed it up badly, went to one of the lesser known MBA colleges. So I'm one of the boomerang cases, which
when did that happen? I didn't know this.
Oh, okay. So I went to one of the lesser known, I'll not take the name of the college, just out of respect, but koi to bhi fuddu college mein chali gayi thi. Then I realized that, okay, this is not right. And then I took a second attempt at the CAT, and then I somehow managed to crack it, and that's how hell happened.
Achha, I have one question, Helly. You said आप फुद्दू college में चले गए थे. How do you know that it's a फुद्दू college? Like, वो red flags क्या होते हैं? I mean, from your time only, you can tell me. I think that is relevant even today.
I think as a student, when you're growing up, whether you accept it or not, हम दिमाग में अपनी औकात बना लेते हैं कि यार मेरी औकात इसके जितनी है, and that's how you justify everything to yourself, to your parents, like मेरे को 40 आए लेकिन वो तो फेल हुआ, so then it's all fine. और rather उसको 80 आया तो ठीक है यार, वो तो stud है, मतलब that's no comparison. So somewhere in your head you've sort of calibrated that this is what I should be doing. And मेरे साथ भी ऐसा ही हुआ. I thought कि यार मेरे साथ वाले तो यहाँ पे गए, ये जो मैं जिसके साथ हूँ, जिस कॉलेज में हूँ, this is not where I thought I should have been, and that's just how you judge yourself through your peer networks, and that's when I took that second shot.
Peers के साथ साथ the sibling pressure is also there. I think that happens. Was it the case for you as well? जहाँ पे मम्मी पापा बोलते हैं यार देखो इसने तो यहाँ पे crack कर लिया, आप कहाँ चले गए?
Oh, I was the eldest kid in the family, so it was the other way around. I think my siblings faced much more pressure than I did. I was given the leeway to do कर लो जो कर सकते हो, मतलब पेरेंट्स को लीस्ट एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी, उनको लगा था ग्रेजुएट हो गई बहुत है, मतलब शादी करा दो. सो दे वर वेरी हैप्पी, दे डिडंट वांट मी टू डू पोस्ट ग्रेड, एंड और ऊपर से और एक साल बिगाड़ा, मतलब फॉर देम इट वाज लाइक यू आर डूइंग 3 years ऑफ MBA, व्हाई इज इट रिक्वायर्ड, साल वेस्ट हो रहा है. सो पेरेंट्स हैड अ डिफरेंट माइंडसेट. आई हैड thankfully the free way to do whatever I wanted, and pressure was on the siblings.
So now let's talk about your IIM journey. When you go to an MBA institute after spending 3-4 years in an engineering college, the life is completely different, right?
Yeah.
What was the first shock that you got when you actually got into a B school? Or, it can be anything. It can be a realization, it can be experience that you had that made you feel like, yaar, ye dono duniya to bahut alag hai.
So what happens is Mumbai students and Mumbai kids are slightly different compared to Delhi kids and Andhra kids and Chennai kids and I mean kids from across the world, across the country. So what happens is when you go to this institute जहाँ पे हर जगह के well performing or well achievers in their respective fields आते हैं, so the shock is that everybody is great. And then you suddenly realize that you are competing with not a class where you were above average, but you are competing with a class where everybody was bloody the topper from wherever they came from. So that's where the shock comes in, and because you are in a very selected premier group, and that network is what sort of hits you the most first.
So while you were having this experience, we were having a conversation, and you said that extracurriculars was not something that you were very strong at. Did you kind of try to make that better while you were at IIM Lucknow? Did you actively take part in things where you became better, or probably worked on your communication skills? Because academics में तो आप खराब थे नहीं, is what you told me.
Yeah. I कोशिश करी थी. I think it was more of an attempt rather than a successful one. But what happens when you go on campus is that you see everybody is good at something. कोई football होगा, कोई cricket होगा, कोई probably singing होगा, something or the other. And then there are these clubs which are getting formed. Suddenly you feel, okay, if I am not developing my skill sets, I'll be left out. So then I joined some club, I joined some committees. ये सोच के कि यार मैं भी बढ़ा सकती हूँ. मतलब cricket तो मैं at the age of 21 I can't start learning, so that was a given. But whatever little I could develop, I did. Whether I learned any extracurriculars out of that or not, I don't know. I don't think I did, but I made great friends, and that network of people, that those relationships that were built over those 2 years are strong, great, and genuine relationships.
Right. It just came to my mind when you said that आप कोई भी एक college में चले गए थे. A lot of the times what happens is, because we have spent 1 year, because we have spent the money, because we have spent, अभी कर लेते हैं, is what you think that just finish it off. How does it matter? कोई brand मिला नहीं मिला. And they don't retake the exam. How did you get that courage that you want to take that exam again? Or if not courage, how did you get that motivation to, probably, write the exam again?
I think it was more of a challenge. Even खुद तो possible नहीं था. मतलब मेरा safety net था. वो first college was there. I had already completed a year. ऐसी मतलब हंसते हंसाते second year भी निकल ही जाता. But I think rather than motivation, it becomes a challenge. You have to ask yourself whether this is where you want to land up. And if the answer is no, then you have to try for harder. And you make it a challenge and make it something that you have to achieve. That's at least the way I thought about it.
And what challenge did you set for yourself while you were at IIM Lucknow? And what exactly did you do to achieve that?
See, it was complete herd mentality. IIM में तो मतलब जाते हैं तो सबको फिन करना होता है, सबको investment banker बनना होता है, या फिर कभी आजकल unicorn चल रहा है trend, तो मतलब everybody wants to join a unicorn startup. So I think I also had the same thing because I was told this was the most glamorous place to be. Everybody said investment banking is the most difficult and glamorous job you can get out of campus. So I thought, चलो ठीक है, इसी को कोशिश करते हैं, and that was at least my mindset back then.
So after spending 17 years at EY and become an IB, are you saying that it's not?
It's not glamorous for sure. I can assure any inspiring investment banker out there that it's a lot more of grunt work than glamour. It's a lot more of marketing than finance, no matter what anybody tells you. And I think it's not glamour. You have to really like that job to be able to sustain it and continue doing it.
Okay. You said that it was a herd mentality. All of your probably batch was looking forward to that day zero company that was coming, or a day one company to get into IB. A lot of times it happens because you know for a fact that there is a lot of money that is associated with it. And the other times it happens because you have a genuine knack towards finance and you want to create a career in finance, right? Yeah. The known roles that are there in finance after MBA. What was it for you in your case? And how many of you guys were selected at IB roles at that year? Do you remember? Do you have a figure? Did a lot of them continue with the way you continued for so many years?
So ours was a batch of 300. L was the 4th ranking IIM back then. All the IBs and the JP Morgans and the Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanleys, Merrill Lynch, all wanted to go to the ABC. Nobody wanted to come to L. Back then, there was only one investment banking, which was Ernst & Young investment banking company, which came on campus. 2 of us were selected, and we were the only 2 who went into investment banking and continued that role. I think my peer continued for a few years and then he moved into private equity. I continued for 17 years before deciding I want to move to private equity. But for both of us, it's been a natural progressive journey. Having said that, there were many others who joined different places across the country and then moved to investment banking. So it's not the be all and end all ki campus se job nahi mila. If you want to do that, you can do that after campus also. So at this point of time, from my batch, there must be a fair amount of handful of people who are doing that, doing investment banking, and none of us are actually the ones who got it from campus.
So if I have to understand, what exactly does MBA teach you that makes you a good investment banker that probably someone who doesn't have a degree, you know, don't have the advantage of?
I think largely it's just the holistic perspective of business. Because when you're doing banking, you need to get a little bit of perspective of finance, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of even ops for that matter. And you get this holistic perspective, you get a perspective of how it all comes together as different work streams into a business. So that application is one part, but that's a very, very small part of the whole job. What it really gets you is the networks. And if I have to reflect on my batch of 2007 today, every single batchmate of mine is a super achiever in his or her own right. Somebody is a CEO, somebody is an MD, koi kisi ka head hai, koi kisi ka regional head hai, koi kisi ka product head hai. Some of them are like doing NGOs and running really successful NGOs out there. So people are achievers in their own right, and the kind of network and access that peer group generates is probably what has helped me most in my career than anything else that MBA has taught me.